For 19 years, I lived in a cycle of food addiction that felt impossible to break. I've spent nearly 2 decades convinced that my only problem was a bag of potato chips, ignoring deeper habits that I've simply accepted as my way of life. But after 4 years of being completely sober from my trigger food, I realized that the truth was far less glamorous than I thought it was. If you're new here, hi, my name is Jolanta. And if you're like me, you are a 9-to-5 professional and you want straight to the point advice, no wasting time. So today I'm sharing 6 unsexy, and I don't know why unsexy. It sounds intriguing, so I like it. So these are 6 unusual advice tips that helped me beat my potato chips addiction, and I hope these would be also helpful for you. And stick till the end because the last one is the best one. I'm not going to tell you what it is, you need to watch to the end. But now let's start with the first one, which is realizing you only have a problem with one thing. For years I was thinking that my only problem with food was potato chips. It started when I was 10 years old, when I discovered in my school shop this amazing flavor of ketchup chips, and they were like very cheap Polish brand. And I remember that when I had just like few zloty to buy the chips, I would usually spend them in the shop, in that school shop. And I would not eat them at school, surprisingly, in front of people, but just eat them at home when I was alone. I just love that. And over the years, the flavors changed. I was discovering new ones. And I was also adding more sweets, more like chocolate, cookies into the mix. But when I finally looked at my eating disorders, I was convinced that only chips were the problem. I was not thinking about all the additional foods that I was eating together with them. But I managed to quit them. Super happy, amazing achievement, I would say, for me. And then 3 months later, I also added chocolate on the list of the items that I will not eat anymore. But now when I'm 4 years sober, I realized that it was not only about potato chips, it was food in general that was my kryptonite. I could not stay away from it. But here's my unsexy, the unusual advice, is to start with the biggest trigger food first. Don't try to fix everything all at once. Build your success, your knowledge, your experience with tackling that big boss first, and then you'll have the strength to actually go for other foods that are bothering you. Second tip is understanding the function of sadness. In the book Emotional Intelligence, Daniel Goleman is explaining that every emotion is essentially an impulse to act, a biological plan for survival. And main function of sadness is to help adjust to a significant loss. For example, death of someone who's close to you or a major disappointment. And most of us hate feeling sad, but it actually has a very specific job. It drops your energy and slows down your metabolism to force you into a state of introspective withdrawal. And think of it as a nature's way of telling you to sit down and process that loss. And as busy professionals, we hate being slowed down. We have so many things to do. So we reach for this high voltage hit of potato chips to override this biological slump. And in that moment, you are not hungry. I mean, you might have been hungry, the same like I was when I was adding chips to my dinner, but you are actually trying to avoid this repair of emotional cycle. The unusual advice here is to stop fighting the biology. And when you feel that slump, try avoiding going to the shop or to your pantry and try to sit with the emotions. I'm not a big fan of journaling because I feel that when I'm writing down stuff, it takes me so much time. What I like to do is actually put on some inspirational music. I noticed that the theme songs from uplifting movies are super nice, like cinematic soundtracks. And when I sit down and listen with my headphones for like 5 minutes, my mood completely changes because I need to analyze what is happening in my brain right now. And by giving yourself this moment of introspective withdrawal, you completely change your thinking. You will at the beginning might have been thinking about so many delicious foods, but at the end of the 5-minute song, you might be thinking about reading an amazing book or going out with friends or planning your weekend, which does not involve food. And then the craving actually loses its power. Now let's discuss unexpected sources of knowledge. When I was struggling with my eating disorder, I was thinking that I can just handle it alone. No external help needed. So I was on the forums, I was reading some health articles advising how to stop eating chips, but the advice was silly. It was saying eat veggie chips. Or I was hesitant to actually go to a dietitian because then I would be again bombarded with a diet plan that will have a list of forbidden items. And I never felt understood that there's a problem with specific food groups. I was feeling miserable, and the actual shift happened just by total accident. I picked up a book about a woman struggling with alcohol addiction, and something clicked in my brain because her description of cravings, the bargaining, the pull were exactly the same. Even though her substance was different, it was just word by word description of my problem. And the truth is, sometimes the answers to your food problems, they aren't in dietitians' plans or health articles or cookbooks. They are found in stories of people recovering from alcohol, from drugs, or from gambling. If you're feeling stuck, stop looking at nutrition aspect of food. Try looking at the problem from addiction recovery perspective. But when you start to understand how brain works, and any brain works, you will understand how addictive habits are formed, and you will stop blaming your stomach, but actually start healing your mind. And now for the ladies watching out there, we need to discuss PMS. Imagine this. You've just finished a 40-minute episode of the new TV show that you are just binge watching right now. And between the episodes, you realize that you've just ate a full bag of potato chips, some cookies, some gummy bears, and some other pretzels or snacks. And the way I'm describing this was my dinner. Oh, sorry, I forgot. There was also dinner, but it was not like a salad or something. It would be like a sandwich or some highly processed meal from supermarket. And then you're wondering, what the heck happened to my self-control? And the truth is that you might be in your autumn phase. And what does it mean? In the amazing book called Period Power by Macy Hill, she's describing autumn, fall as luteal phase. And she's adding this amazing description next to it, which is highway to hell. Your hormones are shifting, the serotonin is dipping, and your brain is throwing a tantrum for sugar, salt, and fat. And the most groundbreaking tip from Hill's book is not about willpower, it's about logistics. She warns you that if you wait till when you are in the wall of exhaustion, then what happens? You would be in the grocery store, you just casually walked in for bread and eggs, but you will end up with chips, chocolate, cookies, pretzels, like whatever your brain craves at that moment. And you'll be putting blame on yourself for that. That was me for many years. A week before autumn, you'll have summer phase, the ovulatory phase as described in the book. And this is the time where you need to do the planning. You are highly functional human, and this is the perfect time for you to take action. You need to be strong, you need to stock up your pantry, you need to have high protein meals in your freezer, and maybe not fully healthy, because we know that we have those cravings during our periods, but at least healthier alternatives to the junk foods that we're always eating. And stop trying to be a hero when you are exhausted. I was pushing myself, didn't work. Build the system while you are strong, so the system can carry you when you are not. And now we need to talk about mental game. I want you to look at this.
A bodybuilder won't judge you for working out. A millionaire won't judge you for starting a business. A football player won't judge you for playing ball. It's always the low-life losers who have something to say.
My friend, I won't judge you for saying that you want to quit your addictive food. And why? Because I know exactly how difficult it is to actually do it. Most people think that motivation is a lightning bolt that strikes once and carries you to the finish line. But you are smart. You know that this is not how motivation works. But the real motivation is quiet acknowledgement that this is going to be difficult, but you are doing it anyway. And it's not about feeling inspired every morning. It's about respecting yourself enough to stay in the fight even when the inspiration runs out. Which leads me to the last advice, the hard to swallow truth. The last one is the toughest of them all, but it's the one that actually changes your life. It is your sole responsibility to take action. Throughout your journey, your family, your friends, your siblings, your co-workers, they might say that your relationship with food is hurting you. And they will suggest to cut down the food or move more. And it's super easy to get annoyed, to get pissed when you hear this kind of advice. So you are either suppressing the anger or you are doubling down on the food that you are eating. And here is the groundbreaking tip. It doesn't matter if they are right or if they are just judgmental jerks. Either way, the responsibility is yours. They might mock you when you are saying no to chocolate at Christmas, or they tempt you to go back to your lifestyle, but they do not understand your struggle. And to that I say, let them be. They don't have to understand your journey for you to complete it. Stop waiting for their approval or blaming them for your misfortune. You have to be the one to do your own thing and stay on the course. Because at the end of the day, you are the only one who has to live in your body. Leave a comment below if any of these tips were new to you or they are just repeated stuff you hear on the internet. And as always, have a lovely day.